In the hustle and bustle of our modern lives, it's all too easy to become overwhelmed by worry and stress. But today I want to share a simple yet powerful truth that can change the way we live. God will sort it out soon. Yes, you heard that right. So, take a deep breath, let go of the worry, and let's dive into why it's so important to stop stressing about the future and start trusting God's plan for us. Worrying about what's to come can rob us of the peace and joy God wants us to experience today. It clouds our minds, distracts us from the present, and keeps us focused on all the what-ifs. But when we make the conscious choice to trust God, we find rest in His promises. There's a truth we often forget in the midst of life's chaos. God will take care of it. All those concerns, doubts, and fears that seem to weigh us down, God already has a strategy in place for each and every one of them. So, inhale deeply, release the stress, and let's explore why we need to cease worrying and start trusting in the divine force that is guiding our lives. The struggle with uncertainty. The one thing that seems certain in this life is uncertainty. Life is a maze of unexpected twists, challenges, and moments where we feel like we're stumbling in the dark, unsure of where we're headed. In these moments, it's easy to let doubt creep in, wondering if we're on the right path or just aimlessly drifting along. But here's the critical point. God's plan isn't always obvious to us. In fact, it's rarely immediately clear. That doesn't mean His plan doesn't exist, though. It doesn't mean He's abandoned us. God is with us, even when the road ahead is unclear. He is steering us, guiding us, and orchestrating everything according to His will. Think about it this way. Imagine you're sailing alone in the middle of the ocean. All around you is endless water, the horizon stretching out in every direction. It's easy to feel lost, uncertain, and adrift. But then, off in the distance, you spot a lighthouse. It's small, almost imperceptible against the vast ocean. But it's there, a beacon of hope, guiding you towards safety. That lighthouse represents your faith. It's the gentle whisper of God, encouraging you to trust, to persevere, and to keep going, even when the road ahead seems unclear. The power of faith is like that lighthouse. It's what helps us navigate through life's uncertainties. But here's the catch. Faith isn't always easy. In fact, it's often one of the hardest things we can do. Faith requires us to let go of control, to trust that God's plan is far greater than anything we could imagine. It demands patience, especially when every fiber of our being wants immediate answers. Yet God's timing is always perfect. He doesn't rush, and He doesn't make mistakes. Even when things aren't happening as quickly as we want, we must trust that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating everything at the perfect moment. His love for us is the anchor that holds everything together, even when we can't see it. So, dear friends, I encourage you, stop worrying. Stop trying to micromanage every detail of your life. Let go of the anxiety and have faith that God will resolve everything in His time and in His way. Even in the most difficult moments, He is working behind the scenes, crafting something beautiful. Remember, we are not alone on this journey. We are all walking through life together, guided by the light of faith. When we look back at the end of this journey, we'll see how God was with us every step of the way, leading us safely home. The temptation to control. One of the greatest struggles we face is the desire to control our circumstances. In a world that praises self-sufficiency and relentless hustle, it's easy to believe that the key to success is doing it all ourselves. We think that if we just work hard enough, we can control our destiny. But the truth is, we were never meant to carry the weight of the world alone. We were never meant to shoulder our burdens in isolation. Instead, God calls us to bring our worries and concerns to Him. He invites us to trust that He cares deeply for us, that He is always present, and that He will provide for our every need. When you feel overwhelmed, when life's challenges seem too much to bear, pause. Take a moment to pray and surrender your fears to God. Trust that He will provide the wisdom, strength, and guidance you need to face whatever comes your way. And then, this is important, step back and allow God to work in His time. His timeline is not the same as ours. We live in a world that craves instant gratification, but God works on a different schedule. His plans are guided by wisdom, love, and perfect timing. And when things don't happen as quickly as we'd like, it's important to remember that God is still working. Even when we can't see it, He's shaping events to bring about His purpose. Trusting God's timing. God's timing isn't always the same as ours, but it's always perfect. In Romans 8:28, the Apostle Paul reminds us that God works for the good of those who love Him, even in times of hardship. No matter what you're facing right now, God is using it to shape you and refine you, just as He did with Joseph. Joseph's journey was filled with betrayal, hardship, and uncertainty. Yet, through it all, he trusted in God's plan. In the end, Joseph rose to a place of honor and was able to save his family from famine just as God had planned. Joseph's timing wasn't his own, but it was perfect. As you walk through your own journey, remember that God's plan for you is just as intentional. Trust in His timing. Even when things seem uncertain, He is working everything together for your good. You may not see it now, but in time, the pieces will fall into place, and you'll understand why things unfolded the way they did. The strength of trust is the bedrock of any relationship, and our relationship with God is no different. Trust isn't about blind faith. It's not about hoping that things will magically work out without any effort on our part. No, trust is an active decision. It's choosing to believe in God's goodness even when everything around us seems to suggest otherwise. It's deciding to rely on His promises and His faithfulness, even in the stormiest seasons of life. When we trust in God, we are acknowledging that He is the one who sees the full picture. We can only see a tiny part of the story, but He sees it all, and His plan is always for our benefit, designed to give us hope and a future. Even in our darkest moments, God is with us. He is helping us, guiding us, and lifting us up when we fall. The power of surrender. Surrendering to God isn't about weakness, it's about strength. Strength to admit that we can't control everything, that we need His help. It's about releasing our worries, our fears, and our desire to control our future. And in that release, we find true freedom. Jesus showed us the ultimate act of surrender in the Garden of Gethsemane. Faced with the weight of the cross, He prayed, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." In that moment of surrender, Jesus secured the redemption of humanity, the power of patience. Patience is a virtue that's often overlooked in our fast-paced world, but it is one of the most powerful tools in our spiritual journey. God's timing is perfect, and waiting on Him isn't a passive act. It's a decision to trust, to hope, and to keep moving forward, even when the path ahead seems unclear. The story of Joseph is a beautiful reminder of the importance of patience. Joseph waited many years, enduring hardship, betrayal, and false accusations. But in God's perfect timing, his dreams were realized, and he became a source of salvation for his family. Embracing prayer. In times of doubt and fear, prayer is our lifeline. It's where we lay our burdens down and trust that God hears our cries. Even when we don't have immediate answers, prayer brings peace. It reminds us that God is with us, that he sees every detail of our lives and is actively working on our behalf. Final thoughts. As we step out into the world each day, let's hold on to the belief that God will take care of everything. We don't need to worry. We don't need to control every situation. We simply need to trust that he is guiding us, that his plan is good, and that his timing is perfect. Let's live with peace, knowing that God is with us, guiding us, and holding us in his hands. If this message has touched your heart, say "I am free" in the comments below. Trust that God has a wonderful plan for your life. May you be filled with peace, strength, and faith today and always. Stay blessed.